Of one Mr. Life Sunday has raised an alarm over the alleged death of their son in the custody of the Octopus Strike Force unit of the Rivers State Police Command. Legbari Sunday, in a telephone interview with newsmen, said his brother was arrested around the Odani area in Obiakpo local government area in October 2022. But Mr. Sunday claimed that the police at the Octopus Strike Force unit told the family that their brother was arrested based on a petition alleging that he is a suspected notorious criminal. He said the police have refused to grant their brother access to his family or a lawyer.
When we approached the police that arrested him, they said a petition was raised against him by a prominent man in Ogoni that is a notorious person. And we say if they have arrested him, he should be charged to court for whatever reason he was arrested. Until now, the police have not charged him to court. And information available to us now that the boy died in detention. Not the true torture or enemies, we don't know. And we are calling on the direction of police to call his men to order that if the boy is alive, they should provide him to court for prosecution. The Octopus Strike Force of the Nigerian Police at my tool.
But Mr. Sunday Legbari, however, called on the Commissioner of Police, Effiong Okon, to order the Octopus Strike Force units to produce their brother in court if they claim he is alive. Well, the Rivers State Police Command is yet to comment on the incident. Away from that, a high court in Port Harcourt has adjourned the hearing on a suit the Rivers State government brought against the member representing Degema Boni Federal Constituency, Farah Dagogo, on a 2-count charge of conspiracy and cultism. The trial judge, Justice Chinwendu Nwogo, who had earlier granted bail to Dagogo, adjourned to February 17, 2023 for continuous hearing. Now, when the matter came up today, the prosecution lawyer informed the court that the witness was absent. Well, lawyer to Mr. Dagogo, Cosmos Enweluzo, explained what transpired in court.
But it is important to note that this is purely a criminal matter which has got nothing to do with the election. So, if peradventure our client succeeds in being the candidate of PDP, which he was unlawfully excluded from contesting the primaries, if the court makes a finding of fact that that exclusion was wrong, of course, he will be put in to contest for that position. But that has got nothing to do with this.
Correspondent Soibi Oruwari reports that the lawyer, Mr. Enweluzo, also said he will defend his client to ensure that justice is served in the matter.
Our own is to justify that he was not even near the vicinity of the primaries for states or for National Assembly offices. He was not there, and no person has identified any person that came for and on his behalf. He was not there. How one may ask, how can he be criminally liable? But in any event, the responsibility, the onus of proof, which in law we say onus probandis, lies on the prosecution to justify why they brought him to court. Ours is to defend him.
Recall that Farah Dagogo was arrested on April 27 when he came for screening as a governorship aspirant by the PDP screening committee at the party's South-South zonal office in Port Harcourt. Well, he spent about 2 months in prison custody. Away from that, the National Youth Council of Nigeria, NYCN, in Rivers State has raised concerns over the rise in the number of political violence in Rivers State. Wisabari Samuel, who claims he is the state chairman of NYCN, in an interview called on parents to advise their children against being used by politicians who think that the only way to hold grip to power is to intimidate, suppress and oppress the opposition. But Mr. Samuel also criticized the statements made by the Commissioner of Police, Okon Effiong, following the attack on Senator Lee Mayba's house.
I want to condemn the infertile conclusion of the Rivers State Police Command on this series of political attacks and thuggery on Rivers State and her citizens. The CP concluding that an attack was stage managed. Let's believe that the Commissioner of Police in the state, CP Effiong Okon, is still not well conversant with the political terrain of Rivers. However, any unprofessional behavior from the Rivers Police Command will see a massive protest calling for his redeployment from the states, and the youths will lead this protest.
Mr. Wisabari also asked Governor Nyesom Wike not to assent to the advertisement and use of state-owned properties prohibition bill 2022.
They are direct affront and resistance to the young people who have worked very hard to pursue a political career and turn around the misfortune of Rivers State.
Governor Nyesom Wike has reaffirmed the need for political parties to adhere to the Executive Orders 21 and 22. While speaking at the commissioning of the Aoda Omoko Road today, Governor Wike said failure to adhere to the Executive Orders is a punishable offense.
I didn't say that nobody should use primary school or secondary school for campaign. All I said, if you want to use primary school, if you want to use secondary school for your campaign, you deposit money so that when you dirty the school or you spoil anything in the school, government will use that money to repair those things spoiled and clean up the school. If you try it by force, you will go to jail. You must seek for approval. If you don't seek for approval, you will be made to face the wrath of the law. Nobody can dare it.
Well, Governor Wike also warned people building on areas acquired by the state government to stop, as such properties will be demolished.
We believe nobody knows tomorrow. This road can be more expanded. And so we have paid for acquisition properties along this line. Now, because we did not build up to that, you think the land or that property is not your own. We are finished paying. Commissioner of Works, make sure all those new properties coming up where we have acquired, bring all of them down now. Because that is how we start. We have paid you money. That is government area.
Still ahead, DSS arrests masterminds of attack at INEC headquarters in Owerri. Stay tuned. in Imo State says the masterminds of the attack at the INEC headquarters in Owerri recently and other government facilities have been arrested. The director of the department in the state, Wilcox Idaminabo, said this at a stakeholders meeting with the resident electoral commissioner in the state, Sylvia Agu, in Owerri. He said the DSS and other security agencies are committed to ensuring lasting peace in the state. The Central Criminal Court, London, has again denied bail to former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu. The court, in a pre-trial hearing yesterday, denied the bail on grounds that Ekweremadu would flee the country. But Mr. Ekweremadu's lawyer said the Nigerian High Commissioner to the United Kingdom and the Attorney General of the Federation had written to the court that Ekweremadu was not a flight risk. The news continues after this.
We sing happy birthday to
The federal government says it is putting measures in place to stop cash withdrawal from bank accounts belonging to the federal, state and local governments. The Director General and Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, Modibo Tukur, in a statement, said most cash withdrawals from government accounts, including payments for ESTA code, are often in excess of the cash withdrawal limits provided by the Money Laundering Act. In entertainment, actor Yul Edochie has tendered a public apology to his first wife, May, over his decision to marry a second wife. In an online post, the actor said he meant no disrespect to her. In sports, Manchester United have triggered one-year contract extensions for 4 of its first-team players. They are Diogo Dalot, Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford and Brazil's Fred.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
The Gambia's government says it has thwarted an attempt to stage a coup. A statement said 4 soldiers have been arrested and 3 alleged accomplices are on the run. It is unclear who exactly was behind Tuesday's attempt to overthrow President Adama Barrow, who won a second term in elections last year. But the Gambia is a largely peaceful country in West Africa, which is popular with holidaymakers because of its beaches and wildlife. On the news this evening, you heard that a court has adjourned hearing on suits against federal lawmaker Farada Gogo. Court has sentenced 2 persons to death over the killing of a woman in 2015. Governor Nyesom Wike says the failure to adhere to the executive orders is a punishable offence. Senator Ike Ekweremadu has again been denied bail by a London court. On the foreign scene, the Gambia's government said it thwarted an attempted coup. The news was edited by Martha Okere. Cloudy weather in Port Harcourt this evening. Collect your PVC and vote. Your vote is your voice. My name is Constance Mega. Thank you so much for listening. Good evening.